After 20 years of unwavering dedication, Tom Mitchell, a stalwart office employee, found himself summarily dismissed from Hightower Corporation. The notification, casually delivered by his superior, Diane Roberts, on a seemingly ordinary Friday, struck a dissonant chord not only with Tom but also with the entire staff. Known for his punctuality, comprehensive knowledge of company processes, and a nurturing spirit that guided many junior employees, Tom was more than just a worker, he was an institutional cornerstone. Diane, under pressure from upper management to inject fresh blood and revitalize the workforce, saw no place for Tom in the evolving corporate landscape. This mandate came as the company grappled with slipping market share and rising competition. Despite Tom's proven adaptability and his recent completion of advanced IT training intended to match the company's digital transformation initiatives, his age and salary, which had grown substantial through years of service, painted him as a liability in the corporate ledgers. The office atmosphere turned sour as the news of Tom's termination spread. Conversations halted when Diane walked by, and her once approachable office now seemed barricaded by an invisible wall of disapproval. Sarah Lee, who had worked alongside Tom for 15 years, openly criticized the decision, organizing small meetings in hushed tones discussing possible actions to express collective discontent. Meanwhile, Jack Harper, known for his ambition and less scrupulous tactics, appeared unusually poised to step into whatever gaps Tom's departure would create. HR representative Emily Stone found herself in a moral quandary. Professionally, she was required to support the company's decision, but personally, she sympathized with Tom, knowing well the contribution he had made to the company's culture and success. On Tom's final day, as he carried his personal belongings out of the office he had helped shape, the reality of corporate indifference to individual contributions was starkly evident. His exit was not just the end of a job, but marked the close of an era for Hightower Corp., leaving many to question their own future within the company. This incident not only cast a long shadow on the morale of Hightower's employees, but also ignited a broader discussion on the values of loyalty and respect in the modern workplace. As Tom walked out of the building, past the younger faces that might one day find themselves in his shoes, the silent hallway resonated with the echo of his departure, a solemn reminder of the relentless march of corporate progress that often leaves its most faithful soldiers behind. The dismissal of Tom Mitchell from Hightower Corporation was not just a personal tragedy for Tom, but a catalyst for widespread employee unrest and outrage. The decision, executed by Diane Roberts, the division manager, was seen not merely as a routine restructuring but as a disregard for loyalty and service. Diane, who had always prided herself on a pragmatic approach to management, found herself isolated as the emotional backlash swept through the office. Tom's firing became the focal point of a larger narrative about the changing corporate ethos, where numbers seemingly outweighed human factors. Despite the company's claims of needing to adapt to a fast-paced, technologically driven market, many employees saw this move as a betrayal, fearing they might be next. The office, once buzzing with collaboration and camaraderie, became subdued, with trust in leadership severely eroded. Sarah Lee, who had often looked to Tom as a mentor, was particularly vocal in her opposition. She began to organize informal gatherings with fellow coworkers to discuss the implications of Tom's dismissal and the security of their own positions. These meetings quickly gained momentum, evolving into a platform for airing grievances about several recent changes in management policies that seemed increasingly out of touch with employee welfare. Meanwhile, Emily Stone, the HR representative, was inundated with questions about job security and the criteria for the recent layoffs. Employees were anxious, seeking transparency and reassurance, neither of which were forthcoming. Emily found herself in an uncomfortable position, empathizing with her colleagues' concerns while trying to maintain her professional integrity in supporting the company's decisions. As tensions rose, a group of employees, led by Sarah, drafted a letter expressing their discontent, which was circulated for signatures. The letter called for a more transparent and considerate approach to managing changes within the company, emphasizing the need for respect and recognition of employee contributions. The letter quickly garnered a significant number of signatures, symbolizing a collective demand for a shift in management's approach. Jack Harper, who had remained conspicuously neutral, saw an opportunity. He positioned himself as a mediator, suggesting he could bridge the growing divide between management and staff. His real intentions, however, were to leverage the situation to accelerate his own career advancement by appearing as a stabilizing force amidst the turmoil. The unfolding drama at Hightower Corporation highlighted a fundamental conflict between the older, relationship-based approach to corporate governance and the newer, efficiency-driven model that prioritized innovation and cost-cutting. Diane Roberts, once a respected leader, now faced the daunting task of navigating her team through a storm of skepticism and resentment, her actions having irrevocably altered the fabric of her department. As the story of Tom Mitchell's unjust dismissal spread beyond the company walls, it sparked a broader dialogue about the value of human capital in the relentless pursuit of corporate profitability. Tom Mitchell, after a shock dismissal from Hightower Corporation, found himself reflecting on the 2 decades he spent building his career, mentoring younger colleagues, and dedicating his life to a company he believed in. The termination came unexpectedly, shattering his sense of job security and forcing him to confront the realities of a workplace that had evidently shifted its values. The morning he was fired, Tom was met by Diane Roberts in what he assumed would be a routine meeting. Instead, he was handed a termination notice effective immediately, with little more than a mention of organizational restructuring as a reason. Stunned, Tom left Diane's office feeling a mix of disbelief and betrayal. His years of loyalty, once a badge of honor, seemed to count for nothing in the face of corporate strategy and bottom-line results. Over the next few days, Tom grappled with a spectrum of emotions: anger at the company he had devoted his best years to, sadness for the friends he would leave behind, and anxiety about his future. At 58, re-entering the job market seemed a daunting prospect. He spent his days updating his resume, a task he hadn't needed to think about for nearly 2 decades, and his evenings were consumed with worry about financial stability and his ability to support his family. Tom's story began to resonate outside of Hightower Corporation as he shared his experience on social media. His posts about his dismissal and the subsequent emotional and professional turmoil he faced gained traction, sparking discussions about ageism, corporate loyalty, and the disposable nature of long-term employees and modern businesses. His situation highlighted a disturbing trend in the corporate world where experience and dedication were often overlooked in favor of younger, ostensibly more adaptable employees who commanded lower salaries. At the urging of friends and former colleagues, Tom sought legal counsel to explore the possibility of a wrongful termination lawsuit. He met with Emily Stone, the HR representative, who, while constrained by her professional role, provided him with documents and past performance reviews that showed a consistently positive record. These documents would be crucial in building a case to demonstrate that his firing was not only unfair but potentially illegal. Amidst this personal crisis, Tom began to receive messages of support from current and former colleagues and even from other professionals who had faced similar situations. Sarah Lee, in particular, remained a steadfast supporter, helping him navigate his emotions and encouraging him to fight back against what she too viewed as an unjust dismissal. As Tom looked back on his 20 years at Hightower Corporation, he realized that his story was not just about the end of a job, but about highlighting the need for greater protection for employees like him. His personal ordeal became a public discourse on the value of experience and loyalty, a conversation that many were ready to have in the face of an increasingly transient corporate culture. Jack Harper, a younger, ambitious employee at Hightower Corporation, had always viewed Tom Mitchell as the primary obstacle to his career advancement. Tom, with his deep-rooted connections within the company and a wealth of experience, held a position that Jack desperately wanted. Over the years, Jack's strategies to surpass Tom had become more calculated and his tactics more refined, culminating in a series of events that would indirectly lead to Tom's dismissal. Jack's opportunity came when the company announced a strategic shift towards digital innovation, a move that favored Jack's tech-savvy skills over Tom's traditional methods. Seeing this as his chance, Jack began to subtly undermine Tom's contributions in meetings, highlighting to management the need for fresh ideas and pointing out the supposed gaps in Tom's knowledge of emerging technologies. Despite Tom's recent efforts to update his skills, Jack ensured these were overlooked in favor of his own presentations and proposals that resonated more with the company's new direction. Simultaneously, Jack cultivated a relationship with Diane Roberts, positioning himself as a visionary capable of leading the department through its transformative phase. He suggested innovative projects and digital transformations that, while impressive, strategically sidelined Tom's skill set, making his contributions seem outdated and less critical. Diane, pressured by upper management to demonstrate progress and cut costs, began to see Jack's points as increasingly valid. As Jack's influence grew, so did his subtle desperations of Tom's performance. He would often question Tom's approaches in front of junior staff, planting seeds of doubt about Tom's adaptability and relevance in the evolving workplace. This maneuvering created an atmosphere where Tom's efforts were undervalued and his mistakes magnified. When the time came for the company to make tough decisions about layoffs, Jack's consistent framing of Tom as a relic of the past influenced Diane's decision-making process. Despite Tom's loyalty and years of service, he was portrayed as being out of sync with the company's future goals. Diane, struggling with the company's declining performance and convinced by Jack's arguments, made the difficult decision to let Tom go. Jack's role in Tom's dismissal was not overt, but his fingerprints were all over the strategic positioning that led to it. Colleagues like Sarah Lee suspected Jack's influence but could prove little, and HR's Emily Stone, while aware of the office dynamics, was constrained by her professional obligations to remain neutral. As Tom packed his belongings, the office felt the shift in power dynamics. Jack's ascendancy was clear, and his role in Tom's departure, while not publicly acknowledged, changed his relationships with many team members. Trust in Jack waned among some, while others admired his cunning, viewing it as a necessary trait for survival in a cutthroat corporate environment. Tom's firing thus became a case study in how corporate politics and personal ambition can alter careers and lives, leaving the company culture forever changed, with employees increasingly wary of the lengths to which some would go to achieve their professional goals. Sarah Lee, a dedicated coworker and close friend of Tom Mitchell, was deeply disturbed by the manner of his dismissal from Hightower Corporation. She knew the value of loyalty and the importance of recognizing the contributions of long-term employees. In response to what she viewed as an unfair and unjust decision, Sarah became the voice of resistance within the company, advocating fiercely for Tom and challenging the corporate culture that led to his termination. Immediately following the announcement of Tom's firing, Sarah organized a meeting with other concerned colleagues to discuss the situation. The meeting quickly turned into a forum for airing frustrations about the company's disregard for employee loyalty and the growing influence of cutthroat office politics. Sarah argued that Tom's dismissal was not only a loss for the team in terms of expertise and mentorship, but also a damaging blow to the moral fabric of the company. In the days that followed, Sarah took it upon herself to keep Tom's situation in the spotlight, refusing to let it fade away as just another HR statistic. She reached out to various departments, gathering stories and testimonials about Tom's positive impact on the company and his colleagues. Compiling these into a comprehensive dossier, she presented it to Diane Roberts, hoping to spark some reconsideration or at least to secure a better severance package for Tom. Despite facing resistance, Sarah's efforts garnered significant attention both within and outside the company. She spoke to local media outlets, sharing Tom's story as a cautionary tale of corporate indifference. Her initiative led to a wider debate on social media about the treatment of veteran employees in tech-driven industries, highlighting a common trend where experience is often undervalued in the rush towards innovation. Simultaneously, Sarah spearheaded a petition within Hightower demanding changes in how termination decisions were made, advocating for more transparent and fair processes. The petition also called for the establishment of a veteran employee advisory panel to protect the interests of long-serving staff and to ensure that their skills and contributions were appropriately valued. This activism did not go unnoticed. While it put Sarah in a precarious position with the company's leadership, it also earned her immense respect and support from her peers. Her actions inspired a solidarity movement within the company, with employees wearing pins and ribbons as symbols of their support for Tom and the principles Sarah was fighting for. Jack Harper, whose ambitions had played a role in Tom's dismissal, found himself increasingly isolated as more employees began to question his methods and intentions. Even Diane Roberts had to reconsider her stance and the company's strategic directions, facing both internal discontent and external scrutiny. Through her vocal opposition and proactive efforts, Sarah Lee not only highlighted the unjust treatment of Tom Mitchell but also sparked a significant conversation about the need for ethical leadership and respect for employee rights. Her actions led to a reevaluation of corporate values at Hightower Corporation, making it evident that the impact of such decisions stretched far beyond the individuals immediately affected. Tom Mitchell's abrupt dismissal from Hightower Corporation after 20 years of dedicated service ignited a firestorm of controversy and opened the door to potential legal repercussions. Feeling wronged and seeking justice, Tom began exploring the possibility of filing a lawsuit against his former employer for unjust termination. In this complex journey, he found an unexpected ally in Emily Stone, the HR representative at Hightower. Despite her role in the HR department, Emily had always respected Tom as a person and a professional. She was privy to the internal pressures and the less than transparent decisions that had led to Tom's firing. Concerned about the ethical implications and the impact on company morale, Emily discreetly advised Tom on the best legal pathways available to him, providing him with crucial documentation and past performance reviews that evidenced his long-standing positive contributions to the company. With Emily's guidance, Tom consulted with several employment lawyers who specialized in wrongful termination cases. They reviewed his employment record, the circumstances of his dismissal, and the broader context of Hightower's recent restructuring efforts. The legal experts concluded that Tom had a strong case for age discrimination and wrongful termination, given the lack of substantive performance-related reasons for his firing and the company's push towards hiring significantly younger employees with lower salaries. Motivated by Emily's support and the legal advice he received, Tom decided to proceed with the lawsuit. He became a plaintiff in a high-profile case that highlighted not only his personal ordeal but also the broader issues affecting aging workers and technology-driven industries. The lawsuit captured the attention of the media, advocacy groups for workers' rights, and the public, all of whom were drawn to the drama of a loyal employee challenging a corporate giant. As the case progressed, Emily found herself in a precarious position. Her dual role as Tom's advisor and a Hightower employee brought her professional integrity into question. However, her actions spoke to a deeper sense of justice and fairness, which she felt the company had compromised in its treatment of Tom. Her involvement became a critical narrative in the lawsuit, demonstrating the internal conflict and the moral challenges faced by HR professionals in balancing corporate directives with ethical practices. The legal battle also forced Hightower Corporation to reevaluate its HR policies and the way it managed layoffs. The public scrutiny and the potential financial and reputational risks of a court battle prompted the company to consider settlements not only with Tom but also to make broader changes to ensure fair treatment of employees in the future. Throughout the ordeal, Tom's story served as a rallying cry for many other employees in similar situations, encouraging them to stand up for their rights and seek legal recourse when necessary. The case became a landmark in discussions about ageism in the workplace and the responsibilities of corporations to their long-term employees. As the legal proceedings drew media coverage and public support, Tom Mitchell's personal tragedy transformed into a significant discourse on justice, fairness, and the human aspects of corporate restructuring.